Hi everyone, I am Harsh. I am the founder of InsideX. We recently rebranded to Nexa, so you won't be hearing about InsideX anymore now. And yeah, I'm here to speak on data visualization, data indexing, and data analysis. So starting with data visualization, I think analyzing on-chain data and understanding on-chain data is the biggest influencer of how people invest their assets. Like a very simple example of understanding on-chain data is APYs or APRs. APYs from CLM pools, APYs from Sui, from scalable and all that, and price charts for meme coins, price charts for Sui. If you think of that, all of that is an on-chain data which is presented to you in a very simple format. So let's take 3 use cases, very easy to understand use cases for how people use on-chain data to make financial decisions. First one is meme coin traders. Almost everyone who uses blockchain, who has been on a blockchain, has at some point of time bought a meme coin that in hopes of getting life-changing money. So that's that part. There are people who actively provide liquidity on CLM platforms like Cetus or Bluefin, platforms like that, where they get APYs, they get the rewards and all that. And then there are people who deposit into auto rebalancing walls, and what the walls do is just rebalance liquidity among all the pools and get you all the yields and all that. So data analysis for meme coin traders, this is a screenshot from Nexa. It's from Rebrand. So people have to understand some very important things when trading meme coins. Things like, is there enough liquidity, and some other security checks like, is it a honeypot? Will you be able to sell after buying the coin? How is the holdings distributed? Does a certain group of people have the power to nuke the chart completely whenever they want? What's the dev status? Is he holding it? Has the dev sold? Has it not? Things like that. So this is just a very basic check of meme coin, which everybody should do, which we provide on Nexa. And after that, this is a screenshot of a holder distribution for a blue chip token on Nexa. And, you should look into, this is kind of a advanced data visualization, which you won't get on any other platform. So, the circles are holders. You can see how much each of them is holding in percentage terms. And the connections are basically that it shows that they have interacted with each other on chain using direct fund transfer. And the link actually goes to like 10 depth levels. So, you can identify groups of holders, groups of addresses, which, might belong to a single person, and he has just distributed the coin to different addresses so that they don't seem suspicious on chain. But yeah, this is where advanced data visualization comes in. You should have access to data like this to be safe and prevent loss of your on-chain funds. And yeah, this is another example where Nexa helps users on Sui. So this is again for the meme coin devs, meme coin traders. You have to understand that the red circle here is the coin dev, and the connections here are all the other addresses that the dev has distributed the coins to. So this gives you a very fair example of the calls shilling on Twitter or X about a meme coin, whether they received some money from the dev to shill it, whether they are actual real supporters, or another indication of how many addresses the dev has distributed the coins to. So things like that. Another example for advanced data visualization would be for liquidity providers. And many people don't understand it, but just looking at the APRs or APYs is not enough. An APR of 1000% would definitely not mean that you are always going to be profitable depositing into that CLM pool. So you have to understand impermanent loss, you have to understand ticks, you have to understand liquidity, and you have to understand how the price moves and when you would make money and when you would lose money. And it's very highly probable that you would lose money if you deposit into a CLM pool. This screenshot is taken from a different platform on Solana. It's not available on Sui, but you can, what this platform does is it shows you that if you deposit into a CLM pool and you are in range for, let's say, 1 day, that's on the top, that's a user setting. It shows you that if you remove liquidity and that's the Solana USDC pool, the price you see on the bottom is the Solana price. And it shows you, if you remove at 143.53 price, you would not be profitable. You would actually be in loss if you deposit into a Sol USDC pool, and you would break even somewhere around 145.57. and how much profit you would make, including the yield, including the incentives, and removing the impermanent loss at prices like 149 or 150. So, it's really important to understand that whenever you see those shiny APIs, it never ever means that it's guaranteed that you would make money. You won't. You have to understand how liquidity works, how ticks work, how CLM works, and this is where data visualization comes in. Now, another example is auto rebalancing, auto compounding vaults. There are a lot of platforms on Sui who provide this service. And you have to, whenever depositing into auto rebalancing, auto compounding vaults, you have to understand some very, very basic things like, does the vault actually auto rebalance at the correct price, at the correct time? Does the vault rebalance like at each 5 minutes interval, or does the vault rebalance when the price goes out of range? Does it actually rebalance, in the most effective way or not? And the most important part is, does the vault actually make you money, or will you make more money by just holding your Sui in your wallet? And I would say that vaults are a really good way to earn yields and all, but it's never guaranteed that you would make more money compared to if you just hold your Sui or your Lo-Fi or your meme coin in your wallet. So highly recommend that you understand any financial decision, any asset distribution that you make on blockchain before you actually do it. Now, data analysis part, I showed you 3 examples and certain screenshots on how we help analyze data for the users on Sui. But it's 2025 and we should let an AI do it. Here's a prompt, and you will be able to do it on Nexa very, very soon. So, I just gave an example of how that platform on Solana showed you that if you provide a liquidity in a certain range and remove at a certain price, you would be profitable or not. With Nexa, this would be just a prompt. So it's a very simple prompt. Will I be profitable if I deposit 1,000 Sui and let's say 1,000 USDC on Bluefin at a price range of plus minus 2%, and I am in range for 10 hours, and let's say I remove when the Sui price is 3.5. Will I be profitable or not? And this it won't be very definitive data, obviously, because it depends on. It gives you the calculations based on the past 24 hours yields and incentives. But data analysis should be done by an AI. It's 2025. You should not spend time on it. Now, data indexing, we had a very, very good session before it, and I am really excited to see how gRPC and GraphQL will be implemented. But at Nexa, we index everything. So basically, all the transactions that happen on Sui is in our DB. So even the basic transactions like the send transaction. So I sent someone 10 Sui is indexed in our DB. That helps us create that the link between different addresses that we did. And these are, I think, the almost just 2 or 3 ways of building a custom indexer on Sui right now. The lowest latency solution is running your own full node, or getting a third-party service like Shinami to run a dedicated node for you. That's the lowest latency solution. So, and that's the most expensive solution too. So you have to do a effort versus cost versus ROI decision making here. And another easy way is to just query the RPC for the data. That brings a bit of latency, So a bit of latency between the transaction getting executed on the blockchain and the transaction, getting indexed in your DB. So we have been for a long time indexing data using the RPC. We query the RPC like every 50 or 100 milliseconds. We get all the new checkpoints that were created in that time frame, and we index all the transactions that happened in those checkpoints like in 100 milliseconds, and this repeats for each 100 millisecond interval. And another big thing that you should take care of when indexing data is your database cost and what you are indexing basically, because over time as the data grows, your DB costs will grow. Like for Nexa, when I started indexing, it was around, the database costs were around like $200 or $300 per month. Now it's around $1,800 per month just because of the size of the data that we handle. So, there are a lot of things to consider for when you start indexing. And the most important of it would be how much of a latency are you okay with? Are you, if you're okay with a latency of 400 or 500 milliseconds between a transaction getting executed and you indexing it, then I think the best way would be to just query an RPC, get a paid RPC from BlockVision or Tsunami, or there are a lot of RPC providers, and that you should be fine with it. If you need like really low latency solution to provide services like sniping or liquidity sniping, token sniping, things like that, you should you should either run your full node, which takes a lot of effort for running it and then maintaining it, or you should let Tsunami do it. They will charge you like a significant amount, but they will take the effort off your hands. And we are. Like personally with Nexa, we are actually shifting to a dedicated node from Tsunami very soon. So because we need low latency for things like sniping and all that. But this would be me. I'm Harsh, and if you want to talk about meme coins, want to talk about any alpha, or want to talk about indexing, data analysis, anything, just hit me up. I'll be here for the next 2 days. So okay.